Two things you need to know about this one before I read it. One is that it's the second level in a three-tiered series. So it'll refer to the first tier and just go along with it. And secondly, that my DNA name is Sizemore, so it refers to it that way. Flash, AP, Reuters, CNN, Pool. Jesus, Mohammed, and Buddha to fill out OD461 forms. San Francisco, California, August 17th, 2011. Only 2 days after Martin Sizemore's historic declaration that the prophets Jesus, Mohammed, and Buddha could, quote, kiss my ass, unquote, agents for all three prophets announced that the prophets themselves will personally fill out the forms used to officially apply for reinstatement of affections and or respect, also known as OD461 forms. All three prophets were said to have expressed shock and dismay at Martin's sudden and unexpected declaration and declared that their recent conversations with him had been both, quote, friendly and familial, unquote. It's like that crazy Ivan maneuver in the movie Hunt for Red October, said CNN analyst Wolf Blitzer in trying to explain Martin's action. That's the one where the Russian submarine, for no apparent reason, swerves left or right to see if an American submarine has been following undetected in its wake. Blitzer went on to predict that while Buddha might have the easiest path to reinstatement, Jesus is expected to run into some serious problems with bad associations. Quote, clearly, there were the many centuries of murder and other horrible crimes committed in the name of Jesus by those who profess to follow him, and there is also the very recent activity of the religious right to take over the government in America to take into account, said Blitzer. Ultimately, though, I think it will hinge upon the actions that Jesus performed in his own historical life. If Martin gives Jesus credit for being a rabbi during his historical lifetime, that may swing the deal. Blitzer expects that the eventual outcome will be a brokered deal, possibly involving some sort of multi-step program and a new pair of sandals. The world Islamic community was stunned by the Prophet Muhammad's agreement to fill out an OD461 form. Even Mullah Mohammed Omar, the most wanted man in Afghanistan, came out of hiding to comment on the event. Quote, clearly, Sizemore was trying to provoke the issuance of a fatwa upon himself through his declaration, and there are thousands of us who would have been more than happy to oblige, said Omar. However, now that the Prophet Muhammad himself, blessings be upon him, has responded to Sizemore's declaration, that throws an entirely different light upon the situation. We have not heard directly from the Prophet for many hundreds of years. Our highest clerical councils are now deliberating upon whether this is, in fact, a sacred event. We have, in fact, temporarily tabled the entire issue of adult breastfeeding in order to consider the matter. Omar said that far from wanting Sizemore dead, Islamic clerics are now very concerned about his safety. Sizemore's recent challenge to the drug dealers of Oakland to come and kill him, and as issued in his recent poem, Jesus Was an Idiot, has us very concerned, said Omar. These are not very spiritual people, these drug dealers, and we do not view them as stable. The reaction from the Buddhist community was somewhat muted. Buddha speaks to us all the time, so this is not really a big deal for us, said the Dalai Lama. We think that the reason that Sizemore included the Buddha Siddhartha Gautama, or Shakyamuni as we like to call him, on the list in the first place was that the Buddha spent the first 29 years of his life as a privileged prince of the realm of Kapilavastu. Sizemore might believe that the Buddha's privileged upbringing disqualifies him from giving life advice to the common peoples. It is our hope that the Buddha's OD461 form, which will detail his barefoot and hungry days, will greatly clarify the situation. There was no word on how long it would take the three prophets to fill out their respective forms, nor whether the forms would be submitted simultaneously or immediately upon completion by each prophet separately. Quote, we are all anxiously awaiting the completion of the forms, and I'm sure that every word in them will be examined carefully, said Blitzer. In particular, scholars will be looking to them for hints on the future of mankind. Sizemore himself had no immediate reaction on the announcements of the three prophets. Quote, I'll look at the forms when they come in, he said, but right now I'm too busy listening to poetry at the Sacred Grounds Cafe.